Bella's enjoying herself. Get that stick, Bella. Show him who's boss. Ooh, look at that. There's a big hole in the tree. Be a nice burrow for squirrels or raccoons or something. Ooh.
Is there any poo-poo in it? That's a big hole.
It's pretty cool. I'm sure something's up there, but it's sleeping right now.
Knock it out.
Yeah.
Wakey wakey.
Alright, we gotta find a spot to hunker down because this cold's getting bad.
Still pretty windy over here.
Hey guys, welcome back to G2 Outdoor Adventures. So we decided, since we got negative temperatures and we got several inches of snow, it'd be an awesome time to come out here and enjoy the outdoors. So we're kind of looking around in the back of the property here at setting up a new campsite. So I was thinking about tossing a tarp up and just do like a lean-to kind of tarp configuration. But it's very cold out here and we want to kind of conserve time a little bit. So we decided to revisit one of our old campsites here. So we made this campsite maybe almost a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. But it's still holding up really strong. But I think we'll go ahead and put some ground tarps here in the bottom, some ground pads, and kind of set up our campsite here, make some food, get warmed up. So stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Now these ground pads like this, these are only rated for like 1.5 R value. So for winter time, it's really not ideal. But now if you sit on top of this, it will give you a little bit of warmth off the frozen ground, but it's going to keep you dry. So that's a big thing when you're out here winter camping. If your clothes get wet, your body gets wet, and then you got those freezing temperatures, you're really going to have a bad night. You want to try to keep your body as dry as possible. So one of the issues that you commonly have when you're out camping, whether it's a super humid environment, snowing and ice like today, or raining, is getting a fire started and where to find those dry materials for your fire. So I know for sure, hands down, that you guys have been out in the woods, you're trying to start a fire, and you'll spend a lot of time on trying to reignite the same tinder bundle or the same campfire over and over, and you just end up with a big smoldery kind of mess. So there's a few things we could do when we come out here when we go to look for fire starting material. And so for example, standing timber like this here. So if you could find dead limbs that are already on the ground, but they're still standing up. But now if you could grab that limb and it cracks like this, then most time that's dry wood. The only time you're gonna really end up in a situation where that's not dry is when you have sub-zero, like freezing temperatures. You can have green tree limbs where you actually go to bend it and they make that crack noise. But then when you look at the bark and the wood inside of it, it's gonna have a green kind of look to it. This stuff here is plenty dry. But so that's an option there. So if you're looking for kindling or branches, looking for smalls to start your fire with, if you're looking on the ground, don't pick the stuff up that's flat on the ground or buried in snow, buried in wet leaves. You really want to pick stuff that's elevated up off the ground. Bella's trying to chew this one up for me. Good job, Bella. But you guys want to pick stuff up that's elevated off the ground here, because this stuff's going to be nice and dry. So we're going to spend a little time. We're going to pick up some of this wood, and as we go along, we find more materials, we'll show you guys. So this is another good example here. So we literally only went about 10 yards. We ran into this cedar tree. Cedar trees are awesome for fire starting. They do have like some resin and pitch in there, not pitch, but resin where it keeps the tree dry from decomposing or getting too wet inside. But on the outside, you got this shavy kind of bark. So we can knock these little branches off, and we could keep these. These are still good for fire starters. But all this material that's coming off, you could get something in there, your knife or a hatchet, whatever you got, but strip this bark off the tree. Now you don't want to go too deep and get into the green bark of the tree. With this outside material that's nice and dry, we could definitely take. Sometimes also, if the wind is coming down where the rain is maybe beating on one side of the tree but not the other, you might actually want to go on the opposite side of that tree and take the dry material from the opposite side. So cedar trees are a really good option for this. If you have white birch trees, the white bark, the papery kind of bark that comes off of it. And another tree we could look for is the red pine tree. So the red pines, that's where people get their fat wood from. Now that kind of wood there is going to have 2 pine needles coming off the needle clusters. So like a white pine has needle clusters of 5, the red pine is going to have needle clusters of 2. But the needle clusters of 2, the red pine, is where people get their fat wood from. We're just going to process this down to get it real fine. It'll make nice material to ignite your fire with. So the next option we want to use for gathering dry wood is to literally cut a larger log. Take that bark off the outside if you have to, if it's wet, but start processing this log down, splitting it into smaller pieces to get to that dry center piece of wood. By splitting your wood on top of another log like this, you'll keep a lot of your energy when you're actually hitting it with this baton. Instead of this log sinking into the dirt or losing a lot of the force behind it, this log will suck it up and you'll actually split through that wood a lot faster doing it this way. A lot of times if you split it into the dirt, you might drive it down a couple inches before the ground gets hard enough. Actually allows you to split it. There's a knot in the wood there. So we want to go ahead and get our fire started here. So we scrape the snow off the ground, so that way when this stuff starts to melt, you don't have all kinds of water in your fires. And also what we could do is put down a few sticks here and try to keep our fire up off the ground. And it's also going to let the air flow come up the fire and come through the center of it, so that way you got an air draft coming in there. So we'll take our bird's nest first, and we'll put this in the center here. So your finest material is going to start on the bottom, and as we progress up in our fire, our pieces of material will have to get larger and larger. So right now we'll start off with our bird's nest, then we'll come in with like pencil lead size up to pencil, finger size, and then just progress larger and larger from there. So when your flames start to get higher than your material, so if I have a bunch of pencil leads on here, then pencils, and the flame starts to come through the pencils, that's when it's time to go ahead and put larger pieces of material on. So in these extreme cold kind of temperatures, we're not worried about trying to do bow drills or use a ferro rye as our primary source of fire. So I got a Bic lighter and a dollar store candle, and these candles will get you going for a while. They'll burn for a long time. They'll help out, especially if you got wet wood. As the heat from that fire comes up, it's going to dry off all these little branches that have moisture on them. It's going to dry that moisture off first, and then you'll start to see the flame come through. Want to help put sticks on, buddy?
Yeah.
Try to grab the skinny ones. As long as the flame's coming through the top of the wood, you could add more wood to it. So that side's kind of wet. We might want to put this one to the side, let it dry off a little bit.
It's digging. It's getting big.
See, now the wind is actually coming this direction and blowing our fire this way. So we know we probably want to load this side up a little bit more heavy, so that way that heat will dry this side of the wood out first. That was maybe a little too big there. So at this point, we got a lot of dry wood here. We got the flames coming up. There's really no reason this fire should die as long as you keep an eye on it. But now we do want to wait until we get a big enough bed of coals and enough material before we actually leave our fire by itself to go gather more material. So anytime you guys go to start these fires, make sure you got a lot more material than what you're thinking you're going to need, and double that if it's nasty out. So if it's wet and snowy or raining, I would probably double the amount of material that you think you need, so that way you're guaranteed you're not going to lose your fire. You don't want to go through all this work of gathering your materials, get a fire for 5 minutes, go to get more material, and then you come back and you got a dead fire and you got to start all over. So I got this little pouch here, and inside this pouch I got a stainless steel grill. Now these grills come in various sizes, so this is kind of like a single bush pot size. You could get these twice the size. So you could buy these off Amazon. They're just like a no brand name kind of grill. But I'll leave a link in the description down below to my Amazon account. So if you guys want to buy one of these grills here, you could do so. I got some dehydrated lasagna here. The bag called it lasagna. On this bag it calls it Italiano marinara pasta. We'll see how this stuff comes out. So I got my GSI bush pot here. So this bush pot, or maybe a cup or something, fits on this grill rack really nicely. Makes it nice and secure. You could drag your fire underneath of it, your coals. So this marinara pasta here, or lasagna, called for 4.5 cups of water. I got a Nelgen water bottle here, stainless. I'll put these Nelgen water bottles on my Amazon account as well, if you guys are interested. So I got 4.5 cups of water. We'll bring that to a boil or a simmer. We'll toss in our lasagna mix, and that's got to simmer down for 20 minutes. And this fire is actually super hot right now, so I'm gonna put my gloves on, reposition a little bit. So I think our pot here is pretty dang hot, getting bubbles on the surface. We'll go ahead and start tossing in our lasagna mix here. It has a very strong, like tomato soup kind of smell to it. Some Italian seasoning in there. And now it says it has to simmer for 20 minutes, so we'll just kind of mix it up here and there. Keep it covered up, it'll keep the heat in there. Give it a good mix there, and then we'll just check it every couple minutes.
All right, y'all, it's been 20 minutes. Adam's out gathering some firewood. So let's go ahead and check this, see if she's done. Oh yeah, I say it's done. I'm gonna check a noodle, make sure it's done. You wanna check it instead? Careful, might be hot. Soft? Perfect?
Perfect.
All right. We're gonna let this sit for a couple minutes, cool down a little bit. Let it thicken up just a little bit more. Let's make some hot cocoa. Stop. Stop. All right, I say that water's warm enough. Let's go ahead and add our Swiss Miss. Take the glove off first. Yep, Swiss Miss. Gotta love some Swiss Miss. Woo! Oh yeah.
It's pretty good.
It looks like it's super hot, but you better be careful.
I don't know, it's pretty good.
All right, guys, so I got you back in camera frame here. So hopefully you enjoyed the video today. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget, I'm going to leave a drop down box below. I'm going to include this camp grill that we used today. So I thought it was a pretty good grill. Like I said, it was about 20 bucks, 25 bucks. Got it off Amazon. Again, it comes in various sizes, so pick the size you guys want. So far, it seems to handle really, really well. I got this fire roaring right now, super hot. It doesn't look like it got warped or anything too bad. Of course, it does kind of change colors, get that purple patina kind of hue to it. Looked kind of cool, I think, after you use it. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye. That's cool, man. Of course. Sure. Yeah. What? Chai. Just a quick. Think about it, Mama. Pretty dang good.
Kind of tastes like a spaghetti.
It said it was lasagna outside of the pack, but the inside of the pack said it was freaking Italiano noodles or something.
They taste like spiced up spaghettios.
They're real hot.
Nope, not at all. They taste like spiced up spaghettios.
It's pretty good.
I think it's not too bad.
Kind of tastes like SpaghettiOs on steroids. Just a stronger flavor, thicker sauce, bigger noodles. It's pretty good. Have that with some butter and bread.
Pretty good. Can I put this on? I'm left-handed. I'm good. Let it char down so we can make some